Heyo, and welcome back to Pokemon Y. In the last part we had some antics with Team Flare, and in this part, as you can see, we've got more antics with Team Flare. And why did he spend 5 million Pokédollars on fucking Team Flare suits? I don't know. But yes, what we're going to do to start with is, this is like a great tourist destination, don't you think? So, you know, let's just have a photograph taken with this giant murder weapon. That will go down really well. One for the album.
Yeah, I love this. It's like, you would have thought that perhaps, considering this is meant to be a very serious moment, that they'd remove the photo stand.
It's like taking a picture behind a nuke or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I can see, like, in a future game, because given something that we're going to end up talking about in the next few parts is that Pokemon can't just keep its gimmick still. It has to constantly bring in new things. It's only a matter of time before we get, like, the selfie thing from Wind Waker or something. Because, like, I can see us having, like, a giant fucking Pokemon battle that's gonna, like, cause chaos to the world, and then your trainer just pulls out their phone and takes a picture of themselves or some shit. But, yeah, so we've got a bit of faffing around here, and I know there's something that's been burning on someone's mind here about some upcoming games. So, Stephen, how about that new Modern Warfare reboot? What do you think of that?
Honestly, haven't paid attention to that at all.
Alright,
so I know zero about it.
No, I've just got it out of my mind because I've been playing Modern Warfare Remastered, which is actually pretty neat. But yeah, so we've had quite a fair bit of new information come out about Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. And it's fair to say that the reception coming to that hasn't been the most flattering for a good handful of reasons. So if we go back through the timeline a bit, we talked about, like, the initial reveal and whatnot during our last recording session, and just how there were some things we were a bit air about, some things we were looking forward to and whatnot. Since then, we've had the big Treehouse debacle where we saw that absolutely embarrassing showing. We've seen the Gigantamax gimmick shown off.
And Dynamax.
Oh yeah, Dynamax, which is the standard form Gigantamax, which, yeah, it's not looking that great. Stephen, go mad.
Well, it's like, because previously when talking about Sword and Shield, we didn't have much to go on. The only real complaint I had was the visuals, which, it's like, yes, you'll get people saying like, oh, but it'll look so much better when the game releases. But it's like, do you honestly believe that it's going
November?
But do you honestly believe it's going to look much better than this? This is the first trailer, and you think it's going to look any better than this? Look back on X and Y to now, and look through all the trailers and look at the final product. There is barely a difference between then and the final product, and the same goes for Sun and Moon. The same is happening for Sword and Shield. Whether you like to believe it or not, because it's going to happen regardless. Sword and Shield, with its recent reveal since E3, it has just gone from something where I was sceptical about buying to, I am not buying this, ever.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I am, because I'm a fucking disaster of a human and I make bad life choices.
Yes, you are. I mean, for goodness sake, you bought Sonic Forces, you bought Sonic 06.
Look, okay, Forces is actually fun. It's got a lot of problems, but it's not, like, I would say, not worth playing. It's fun for it is, but yeah, like, so...
You bought Sonic Boom, though.
Oh, yeah. That's because I have problems.
Exactly, yeah, so there you go. But, yeah, it's like, I mean, granted, there's a very slim chance that they can turn things around before the release date and announce something that will make me go, alright then, I take everything back, I want this game. But those chances are so minute that they're not worth referring to at this point.
No, I don't think they're going to give Charizard a gun at this point.
Oh, but he's getting a Gigantamax form, you know that.
I want to see Gigantamax Charizard, actually.
Charizard's definitely getting a Gigantamax form. He is the partner of the champion of the Galar region, for God knows why. even though it should be a Gala Pokemon.
Yeah.
You know, because every other region has done that. Stop referring to Gen 1. I am sick of Gen 1 now. We get it. It was the first game.
Yeah, like, I get it, but, like, it's more of an insult now given the National Dex isn't happening.
Yes. Yeah, going into that, they announced at E3 that going forward, from here on out, no Pokemon game will ever have every Pokemon in it. And by that, not all of them will be coded in. So you will not be able to ever transfer certain Pokemon over. And I love that meme.
Yeah.
Yes. Why are you crying? Pokemon. Yes. that is perfect for many reasons.
Yeah. What got me was more our trainers, well, Callum's just blank expression there. It's like, what?
It's like, I do love it every time a new Pokemon announcement comes up and someone posts that. It's like, well, I'm not crying, but I get how you're feeling.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's like with the exclusion of... We don't know how many Pokemon are being excluded, but it's just... It hurts all the more because of the excuses they have given.
So, yeah, about that high quality animation, because that's like the elephant in the room with this debate, isn't it?
Yes. One of the first things they said when they announced that not every Pokemon will be available, they said that the reason for this is so that they can work on higher quality graphics and higher quality animations. Every single animation, bar the actual moves themselves, there's a possibility that those will actually look better. It's like, I'll give them benefit of the doubt for those, but when it comes to the actual Pokemon and making them feel alive in this world, they are all exactly the same as Sun and Moon to X and Y.
Yeah, they are using the same models. They are using basically. It's not. They've got a new UI, which it does look clean. It looks nice. I'll give them that. Like, it's very simple.
I'm not fond of it personally. I mean, yes, it's very clean and that, but it just feels like the rest of the game so far. For me, it comes off as flat and dull.
Well, it does the job. Like, to me, it looks about what I would expect, and it looks fine to me. It looks like it's perfectly functional, and I'm okay with that. But like the actual battle formation, like the layout of the battle arena, looks basically like an upscale 3DS thing, and even to the point of like texture quality. Some of the textures on the ground and on some like the trees and things, it does look really subpar. And like, to a certain degree, there are certain elements of the art style which I can appreciate. I like that they're going for like a halfway point between like the 3DS art style and like a cel shaded kind of thing.
Yeah.
That looks fine. It just doesn't, like, that's the effects on the models which don't gel with the environments.
Yeah, because one comparison that I've seen is with a Skyward Sword for the Wii. Because like, yes, that's an old game, but the art style is actually quite nice.
Yeah, I do like how Skyward Sword looks.
It's actually aged fairly well.
Like, even like, I feel like the obvious comparison to make is comparing Sword and Shield up against Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
Because they've both got this, like, there's a lot of open space in both of them from what we see, but Breath of the Wild is like fully embraced the cutout thing. So like, that's not just on the character models, it's also on the environments. Everything looks like it comes together as a cohesive world. Whereas like with Sword and Shield, they've sort of got the idea going, but the problem is that like it makes the models look out of place when the environment itself is just barren and lifeless.
Yeah.
And granted, that is for like the big like park place that they've shown off. We haven't really seen that much footage of like the gameplay in towns and cities, which might be a bit more compact and less obvious. But you know, given that's the first thing that they decided to show off gameplay wise, it kind of does make you worry a little bit how it's going to look.
So let's talk about the new let's actually try and talk about the positives of it first before we absolutely
go on.
tear it apart. So the positives that I've seen so far are like the art style I like. The Pokemon designs so far I've liked all of them, although I'm a bit iffy about Impidimp.
Which one was that one?
It's a little purple demon which showed up in the demo at E3.
Oh, I think I know what one you mean.
Yeah, it's like, it's weird that it hasn't been properly revealed, considering it was revealed alongside a Yamper.
Yeah, Yamper's cute. I like Yamper.
Yeah.
Although Yamper was one that they shown off a tweet. Just I forget what the context of it was, but it was meant to be like the funny meme tweet.
Yeah.
But it was the high quality animation of it just using tail whip.
Already, it is difficult to focus on the positives.
Yeah.
Already, because as soon as you mention Yamper, it's like there's a massive negative attached to that because they showed off tail whip animation.
But it's a cute Pokemon, so yeah, let's carry on.
But the Pokemon designs look good. They range from very good to kind of okay. I'm sort of a bit iffy about the legendaries. I like them, but I feel like they should have been refined a bit more.
What I kind of wish is that they were a little bit more different from each other, because like I get what they're going for. If like they counter, one is the Sword Pokemon, one is the Shield Pokemon, and that's cool. But the problem is that those traits are like the only thing that's different. Otherwise, it is just like one blue wolf and another blue wolf.
And it's like there's also the fact that they're not as in tune with the objects that they're holding, because like the Sword Pokemon is holding a sword. It's like you couldn't have had it be like a representation of its power or something. Make the sword design more subtle in some way. I mean, granted, subtlety isn't exactly great with one of Game Freak's specialties, but or Creatures Inc. whoever. But it's like just mesh them together a bit better.
Well, see, I don't mind him having like a physical sword and a physical shield, because that's what they're kind of going for. It's like the knights, and that it does work. I just kind of feel like, you know, they need to be a bit more distinct than just like one's got a sword, one's got a shield. Yeah,
it's weird that they're both pretty much the same colour palette.
Yeah, I've got to say, because I can never remember which one's which.
Zacian is the sword and Zamazenta is the shield.
Right, let's go round. Chris, favourite out of the two, sword or shield Pokemon?
I'm not sure. I don't know. They're both pretty similar, aren't they? Really, like it's the thing.
That is a big problem.
Yeah, I couldn't. Shield, it's exactly the same.
They're the
really,
most
almost
indistinct cover legendaries we've ever had.
They actually are, yeah, because like most of the time they do at least have a different colour scheme, don't they? Because like I would say, with the designs we've got, I would lean slightly more towards Sword Boy than Shield Boy, and that is just because the Sword, he at least looks like he's nimble, he can run around, he's a little bit agile, whereas the Shield one, what he reminds me of Undo Dog from Super Mario Maker, where he looks like he's got his head stuck in something.
That was the point I was going to get to. I wasn't thinking of Undo Dog, but that is a perfect example, a perfect analogy for it. But yeah, Zamazenta is a strong example of how kind of poorly they have meshed the shield idea with a creature. Because, like, yes, it's a wolf, you're trying to attach a shield aesthetic to it, but they couldn't have perhaps, like, given it a large mane, which, when it powers up, spikes up and solidifies a bit more into a shield-like form. But instead, it actually reminds me of, like, something from the anime where Jesse and James, like, use these upgrade things on Survivor and Carnivine, where they attach these tools to them to make them stronger. That's how it feels with Zamazenta. It doesn't feel like it would be special unless if it didn't have that shield locked around its neck.
Well, I think in terms of practicality, like the design-wise of how the shield is handled, that would not be a very useful shield.
Yeah, it's hit in the head.
Yeah, but like it just makes me think of the sword one carries a sword. So why doesn't the shield one carry a shield?
Yeah.
You know, and it could, like, that way it'd be able to defend itself from the shield one a lot more efficiently. It wouldn't have to do, like, the constant turning the head thing.
Because it's like, yes, I am a massive shield, but just don't aim for the centre of the shield where my head is exposed completely.
Yeah.
What? I mean, and it's like, it's even more irritating because, again, it's like it's further solidified that the shield feels separate from the Pokemon because there are the flaps at the side that you see lock into place.
I want to see him try to run through a doorway. That would be the funniest fucking shit.
It's like, at least the sword Pokemon can just sort of lay its sword down, walk through the doorway and just drag the sword through. But the shield Pokemon's just like,
yeah.
I'll wait out here, guys. I'm cool. I'll make sure no one comes through here.
Yeah.
It's almost like a hindrance, like it's like one of those dog cones on it.
Yeah, yeah, it is like one of the dog cones that they wear when they've had operations and shit. Yeah.
And I don't like the way that the shield Pokemon were, the legendaries in general, were presented. Because, like, these are meant to be like knights, I assume, in a way. And they get shown off in a generic forest with no sort of relevance.
To be fair, I could see that place fitting in like certain Arthurian stories and stuff. Like, there's gonna be the
Sword
woods.
in the Stone, I could see.
Sonic and the Black Knight, I could see.
Shut up.
That's like my main knowledge of this kind of setting, but yeah.
But the shield is like, it would have made so much more sense if you needed the forest thing, have the sword Pokemon be there. Have that be a sort of reference to Arthurian legend.
Yeah,
but then have the shield Pokemon be somewhere else, like a dilapidated castle.
But they need to clash, but...
Yes, they could have. They still could have clashed.
Okay.
There's no reason.
Speaking of legendary Pokemon, this is like one of the more memorable arcs from this game, I would say. Like, granted the Team Flare build-up that we had, like, there's a reason why we decided to just spout what we thought about Sword and Shield during the first half of this, because it was just double battles against Team Flare guys. And there's going to be a few more battles against Team Flare guys here, but I do want to just draw attention to this scene before we go back into it, and Shauna waving her arms around that, because we did show off, like, there's a bit of the teamwork in the fact that Shauna came down and helped us get in using a device that Clement had made, and so, like, we are getting a bit of a dynamic between our, like, friend group here. So to say, it's not much, and Shauna still is a bit of a she's kind of there character. But, you know, I can at least appreciate that they're trying to tie it all together during this section. And it's kind of coming around about the same point in the game as these arcs usually conclude in games, isn't it? Because, like, we've got another gym after this, but that's it then. So we are on the tail end of the game now.
Considering the fact that this is just before, like, things come in that we should talk about, so I'd also just want to say that I really like the gym leader designs and the character designs overall in Sword and Shield. Overall, the art style, character designs and Pokemon designs have all been very strong. If anything, I'd say that the character designs are actually a bit stronger than the Pokemon designs.
Oh yeah, like, I would say the only one that's really a letdown is the one that's always a letdown, which is the male character that you can play as. But, like,
kind of...
yeah, we kind of just accept that. Although I suppose at least he has got the kind of look of, you know, he's riding on his way for a cheeky Nando's kind of thing going on. But, you know, like, I like the angry Scottish girl.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yep, she's perfect. Yep, and, like, the gym leaders that we're seeing, like, Milo's a bit derpy, but, you know, like...
Yeah, it's a bit odd. He looks like a very, very muscular Krillin from Dragon Ball. It's like, you won't get that.
No.
But yeah, all of the designs so far, excluding the male character, and in my opinion, the champion. I hate the champion's design. Doesn't look like a champion. Get rid of him.
I like the champion. Like, he's Leon, his name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like his design in the fact that, like, granted, he's kind of retreading Lance's territory a little bit.
What with the cape?
Yeah, like, and
the fact he has a Charizard for no reason.
Well, Charizard's just a cool Pokemon.
There's a difference between using a cool character for... Look, it's just so stupid that they're using Charizard instead of giving him a cool new Pokemon for him to have as his own signature teammate.
But Stephen, aren't you nostalgic for the Pokemon Red and Blue games that came out many years ago? Does that not remind you of your childhood?
I feel like they're jamming a cartridge into the back of my skull at this point. Yeah. I am sick of them referring to red, blue, green and yellow. I am sick of Gen 1 now. I am tired of it. We get it. You gave the starters Mega Evolutions. In fact, before Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Gen 1 had the most Mega Evolutions. Then Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire came along, and Gen 3 is now in the lead. But that makes sense, because it's a remake, so it's like, give all the attention to what you're remaking.
Personally, I think it's a cool nostalgic throwback. I don't know what your problem is.
You're a bad person. And then you get Gen 7, where the only Pokemon to get Alolan forms are Gen 1 Pokemon. Which is even more irritating, because just imagine the possibilities you could have.
Yeah, I think like you could have a Alolan Bulbasaur, a Alolan Ivysaur.
I hate you so much. Please just shut up for your own benefit. And then you get to Gen 8 and immediately it's like, oh, here's the champion. And his favourite Pokemon is Charizard. Who would have thought?
No, but I'm personally really excited to see more from like Dynamax Raichu and Dynamax Gyarados, those two new Pokemon that they're bringing into the game.
It's like if the leaks are right, I am looking forward to Gigantamax Pikachu, because supposedly it's gonna look like old fat Pikachu.
No, old fat Pikachu just is Gigantamax Pikachu.
Yeah, but there's just too much Gen 1 pandering. It is tiresome at this point. Give me something new. And no, Dynamax and Gigantamax don't count because they are Z moves and Mega Evolution smacked together, wrapped in new wrapping paper and gone, here's a new thing. Please take it and believe us.
Okay, so if you want something new rather than something that's just an old throwback, why don't we get Pokemon Ultra Let's Go Pikachu, Pokemon Ultra Let's Go Eevee, just so that we can get a more complete version.
Let's go back to Johto. Okay. But we're going to completely rebuild Kanto.
Well, like, to be fair, I think they did kind of build up Kanto a fair bit more in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I haven't beaten those games to know, but like, to be fair, Kanto is a big part of Gold and Silver. So if they were going to do a Let's Go variant, I would like to see Kanto probably developed. But like, again, it kind of does have a bit of the charm taken away given how often in all seriousness here, if we're talking about how nostalgia works, the idea of making that work is that it's drawing something from a long forgotten memory. It just pulls something back. Whereas if you do that every year, it's not a throwback to this thing from 15, 20 years ago. It's a throwback to last year.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't have the same appeal. But, ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Pokemon Yveltal.
Yeah, let's refrain from the rage and just enjoy this for what it is. Suddenly they decide to go all cinematic. It's almost like they were trying something new for once.
To be fair, this was legitimately cool when this first came out, because we had 3D cutscenes for the first time in the main series game, and look at this fucking badass. I love Yveltal as a design.
It's some people do have a fair amount of issues with X and Y, saying that it does feel a bit hollow, and I can sort of see that, but I think there are a lot more positives to take away from X and Y, because it felt like a good starting point for the 3D game. While yes, the end game does suffer considerably, I still think it's actually good.
See, I don't even agree there. I think the end game's pretty solid. Like, some of the post-game is a bit air. Like, the Battle Mason, which we'll see a little bit of later, it's like, who gives a shit? But this fucking music...
Yes, Xerneas and Yveltal's Versus theme is one of the best themes in this game, and I adored it from the moment I heard it the first time.
I like the electronic direction in X and Y soundtrack. It's, like... In terms of the music we've had since they went to using audio files rather than sequence music, I think X and Y is probably the best one. Because I know, like, I will always really like Gen 2 soundtrack. Gold, Silver, Crystal had fantastic music, but in terms of the live music, or, you know, audio track music, this is fucking great.
I think the only issue I have with the battle against Xerneas and Yveltal in this is that the area that they awaken in, it clashes with their designs heavily, because you're in this area that's completely constructed by Team Flare. It feels artificial and clinical because they're experimenting and that. But this Pokemon's meant to have existed since the beginning of time, since life and death began, essentially. And it's clear that they're trying to make you ignore that fact by just putting you in a world that looks like a black hole.
Yeah, like, it does clash a little bit, but I feel like where part of the problem comes in terms of the story use is that Team Flare, their idea is it's like a worldwide holocaust to anyone who's not Team Flare. That's what their plot is. And in Y, that works with the idea of Yveltal being the Pokemon of death. But Xerneas is the life Pokemon. So I don't quite follow that. But let's talk about the design itself.
I guess the main thing probably is like using Xerneas as a battery, considering it is immortal.
True.
So.
Let's talk about the design itself, because like, Blue Stantler is cool for what it is.
Xerneas is a fantastic design.
Yeah, it's cool, but I prefer this fella. Chris, what do you think of Yveltal's design?
I think I agree with Stephen. I actually quite like
Xerneas'
design.
Good form.
Yeah.
I like the regalness of it, like Stephen said previously. Like, but that does a very badass, obviously.
Oh yeah, it's like
design.
The artwork for Xerneas and Yveltal is fantastic. I love the clashing of them in one of the posters and that. It's like, and I love it when Yveltal is actually represented as a force of destruction. Unfortunately, they never really do much with that.
No, they haven't really done anything with it since.
And Yveltal feels very underutilised. Whereas any time Xerneas has been shown off, it's been shown off in the light that it should be. It's surrounded by nature, it gives life and that. And it's like, and I mean, great, it's not shown off that much more than Yveltal, but it's certainly done a sight better.
So when its life comes to an end, it absorbs life energy. That's fucking metal.
So when it dies, it kills everything else around it and continues living instead.
Yeah. So this is kind of cool. Obviously, it makes no sense how it works, but you can just draw it straight into your team here. And we've got a fucking amazing fight coming up here for all the wrong reasons, but you know.
This is a bad fight.
The fight itself is just basic, it's just funny.
It is. It's so stupid. And now we have a Dr. Octopus rip-off right here, and there is no explanation given why he looks like this. They don't even ask, why are you dressed up with 3 cameras hovering behind you?
What is he even trying to achieve with this outfit? Yeah.
Why do you have a dueling disc on your right arm?
I didn't even notice that bit.
Yeah, you'll see it in a minute. It's like, is that meant to help with Mega Evolution? Look, he's got a dueling disc on his right arm. They never explain.
Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
And why are we on the fucking sun now?
Exactly. It's like, it goes to show just how bland the area was that they have to create something new which feels so out of place. It's like, Team Flare, you're on the sun, get it? But what does the sun have to do with Yveltal and Xerneas? It has more relevance to Sun and Moon, the games that don't even exist yet from this game.
I've got to say that animation just then is pretty fucking badass.
Pretty
yeah, but that is Yveltal's signature move, and it is so cool.
Yeah, it's not the strongest move. I think it does like 80 damage, but it works in a similar fashion to Giga Drain.
Oh yeah, it does like suck it back in a little bit. Which
It's basically flying type Giga Drain, which is kind of disappointing, but
well, it fits with Yveltal's character, like we just saw in the Pokédex.
But you'd think that the destruction Pokemon would have a more destructive move.
Yeah, but it destroys the enemy to like absorb its life force,
Yes,
which
we
is
get
what the Pokédex says.
Yes,
so it
but
works.
Shouldn't the move be a bit more damaging? Would you not want a more damaging move?
Oh yeah, but like they got to balance
Well, there
it
you go.
somewhat.
They gave Xerneas Geomancy.
What does that do?
That is basically Shell Smash, but it takes 2 turns to work, and it doesn't give you the defense or special defense decrease. And then if you give Xerneas Power Herb, it uses it in 1 turn. So you've got a monster in 1 turn that can be barely taken down.
Fair. But like speaking of the legendaries from this game, like Xerneas and Yveltal, because I have not actually seen anything of them from the anime. Where did they show up?
They did show up a couple of times, but they didn't have any sort of relevance in the final plot. Because Xerneas shows up a little bit when they're like doing some sort of like trainer school where they meet Shauna and Tiana and what's his face? Forget the other one.
The ginger kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name?
That's his name now. Trevor on it.
Trevor, that's
Yeah.
it. Yes, Trevor. Yeah, they meet up with them, and I recall Bonnie. It's like there's a thing that happens, and Bonnie ends up seeing Xerneas in the trees, and that's like the one time you ever see Xerneas.
Oh, a trainer just casually seeing a legendary Pokemon hiding behind trees. We haven't seen that before in the anime.
Oh my
have we?
god, you've seen the legendary Pokemon? Do you know Ash Ketchum? Yes. Well, that explains it all then. Wherever this guy goes, suddenly the legendaries wake up.
Yeah, but then, like, you get these little vague teases. Like, they've done it with Suicune, I think, a couple of times.
Yeah.
Because that happened, like, when he was, like, early days of Johto, and they did it in Pokemon Forever as well.
And in Diamond and Pearl.
He just threw his fucking goggles off in rage.
We should probably refer to the fact that he did have a Mega Gyarados. Mega Gyarados does look great, but it's not a dragon type, which is stupid.
Yeah, it's water dark now, which... Wow, look, I'm in my Dr. Pursuit and I'm crying.
Why does he have flying cameras tethered to him?
Get a better shot.
It doesn't make any sense. This is why Team Flare is just so terrible. There's no sense of direction with them.
To be fair, like, the Gyarados was shiny in the anime.
Was it?
Yeah, the shiny Mega Gyarados.
Oh, fair enough.
Which, like, is cool, but then they have already shown off shiny Gyarados before,
Yeah.
because Lance has one. But,
Which shiny Mega Gyarados colour?
It's red.
It is still
Red as
red.
well.
It's
Yeah,
still
it's
red.
literally just the same. Like, you couldn't really get away with changing it, because, like, Gyarados
Make
is the
it
most
black.
iconic. Yeah, but, like, the red Gyarados, it's like the
Yes,
most
I
iconic
know.
shiny
But
Pokemon.
I know, but still, Mega Evolution, you're
He's
allowed
gonna
to...
snap! He's gonna
Yeah,
do the fucking
he's
snap!
gonna do the snap. He's gonna use... I mean, for goodness sake, he uses the ultimate weapon to absorb the majority of life from the world. He was gonna kill off majority of the world. God, this meme has never been more relevant.
It's like been several years in the making now, hasn't it?
It's like that would be so much more imposing if it was in the middle of an actual city. But instead, it's surrounded by 3 toppled over houses.
Yeah.
It's like, he's the most, like, playing it safe terrorist ever, and he's not blowing up like a big city. He's like, he set off a giant weapon in some town, who knows where.
What happened? The corner shop got knocked over.
Yeah.
Ah! Is the Pokemon Center fine? Yeah, actually, that's still fine. In fact, they don't even know what's going on out there. They're actually all... they're completely oblivious.
Yeah.
Your plan didn't really go through very well, did it, Lysander? Oh yeah, Lysander just nuked himself, essentially. He blew up the ultimate weapon on top of himself because he lost.
Yeah, he's fucking dead.
He was trying to take everyone else down with him, but he probably forgot about the fact that people have legs and started running.
Oh yeah, we got that little subplot here of Cena and Dexio trying to play off the fact that they're senior, or whatever the fuck their names are. Like,
no, you got their names right. I just can't remember what their superhero alter egos are meant to be.
Fuck knows. But they show up again in Sun and Moon, don't they? Was that meant to be these ones or an alternate universe ones?
I think it's the same.
Yeah, because it's set a little bit later.
I'm pretty sure there are only three alternate universes now. One where there's no Mega Evolution, one where there is, and the Let's Go.
Yeah, but Sword and Shield are probably going to be their own one, given there's like
Doubtful.
no... Well, bear in mind that we've lost Megas.
Yes, but the thing is, though, they are still using Mega Evolutions in advertisements. That I reckon Mega Evolution does still exist. It's just like, we've got a new gimmick, we want to focus on this. So it's like, I just can't see it being in another universe because I don't see them being competent enough to come up with that excuse.
I don't know, it seems like an easy way to write it off.
It would be an easy way, but I would despise them for it.
But yeah, there was AZ just sort of lamenting about the guy who originally set off the weapon and had the Pokemon leave. And, like, you can piece together.
Yeah.
Come on,
Like, this guy is clearly 3,000 years old, and he is the king. He is the original, well, one of the original kings of Kalos. It's like, you can't really say he's the original king because probably all sorts of things before him, but whatever.
It is what it is, but yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, join us next time where we'll have a part with a lot less weapons of mass destruction being set off. So we will see you then. Bye bye for now.